Welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We are going back to where it began for me as a solo board gamer. The first game I solo played with any degree of seriousness was Scythe. I loved it. I loved learning how the different factions worked. I really liked the automa system in this game. And it really kind of went from there. Again, it was soloing Scythe, and then I started soloing Arkham Horror like a madman, and then went back to Mage Knight, Terraforming Mars, and it kind of snowballed from there. But did want to get an episode of the where it began for me onto this channel. So what I have so far is I randomly chose 3 of the factory cards, so they're ready there. There's 3 because, again, there's 2 players. It's myself and the automa, and then +1. This is the automa deck, which is shuffled. I do have the cheat cards there. I will probably need to refer to them a little bit, as it has been quite a while since I've soloed this game. We have the combat cards, which I will give a shuffle. All of the encounter tokens are on the board. We have the encounter cards have been shuffled and put into their respective deck, and we have the objective cards which have been shuffled, and I will draw 2 as soon as I get my faction. Now, a little bit of where I stand with Scythe. Obviously, I love this game in a lot of ways. It is not a game I play very often with my gaming groups that I am part of, Gloomhaven and Arkham, and the desire to play a wider and wider array of new things does prevent me from getting this to the table as often as I like. But the base game is amazing. I really love the 2 factions in Invaders from Afar. The first expansion, both Tagawa and Albion, present really cool puzzles that I like to play them both. And after that, though, Scythe does start to taper off a little bit for me. I find the Wind Gambit expansion adds enough to make it interesting, but not enough to really like it that much, and what's there is kind of fiddly, and the big airships look cool, but what do they really do? Some of the alternate endgame scenarios are interesting, but honestly, it's not something I've played very often with, just haven't really taken a liking to it. And then there's the Rise of Fenris. I really disliked the Rise of Fenris. It surprised me how much so I am a fan of campaign games and legacy games, and was able to assemble a really good group of 7 people together to play the entirety of that campaign. And to be honest, I don't think any of us walked away feeling like it was worth the time. There's just other games we would have rather been playing. It started off fine, but then when you have 2 of the 8 scenarios ending in about 15 to 20 minutes, a lot goes into people getting here and planning games nights, and so yeah, then you have to go to the next scenario. But it just it didn't work for my group. The scoring was too random. Vesna and Fenris do have their problems with being overpowered, especially depending on what were the alternate objectives that came out in certain modules there, because they're really it's easier for those 2 factions to get around the board, which gave a really significant advantage to the players that were able to get those factions. It just the scoring system and filling in the chart, while interesting, just having the wild card, my term, but the ability to fill in whatever you want to based on certain objectives, it wasn't already on a thing, there was so much randomness in the final scoring, and when each one of those boxes was worth 25 points, it just left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, as we kind of wound that campaign to a close. Now, what I will say is what I appreciate about the Rise of Fenris, and why I'm still glad I bought it on some level. It was an opportunity for me to teach some of my friends the game. that wouldn't have otherwise been that invested in it. So we accomplish that goal. I do like the alternate modules, the peacetime module and the wartime module. I will use, I'm sure, at some point, and the cooperative game module that is part of the Rise of Fenris expansion. We actually played through and had a great experience working together now that everyone was up to speed on the game and knew how it worked, and accomplishing all the various objectives that were out there in a cooperative manner. I thought was very, very cool. So that's that. I know some people love that expansion, and Rise of Fenris won all sorts of awards, but yeah, that is one of several places where I look at the board game world and just wonder what I'm missing. But I will not be playing that campaign ever again. I can pretty much be confident of that. So here we are. So let me pick my faction for this one-off. So I'm going to I do have Scythe. I highly recommend it. It is one of the most helpful board game apps that are out there as a little aid here. So I'm going to reset my game here, and just a single game. Invaders from a far faction is checked. I'm going to draw the first player. This will be me. Well, let me see what they are, and then I'll decide. So I have Polania, not Polania. Is that Polania? Who's this? Crimea. This is Crimea. Crimea is so strong. I'm going to make that the automa, I think, and hope I can be something not as A, B, C, D. Crimea is probably the faction that I'm the best with when it comes to this game. So I'm going to make that the automa. And then we're going to draw the next player, and I will be Saxony. Cool. I actually struggle with Saxony a little bit more than the others, so that will be good for me. So we're good. Two-player game. We're going to do the tiles and mods. The bonus endgame scoring for structures is going to be adjacency to lakes. And remember, that is each lake can only count once, no matter how many structures are built next to it. And since there are only 7 lakes on the board, the most you can be adjacent to will be 7. So with that, let me figure out how I want to lay this out. So we have Crimea. So I'll put Crimea up there, and we will put Saxony. It's pretty safe to think that we're not gonna get too far north on this board. It's always interesting when you're right next to the automa, just because of crowding issues. Again, the automa plays an area control first game. That is how they win. They just try to control everything, and they get major amounts of points from that. Oh, shoot, I didn't even see. I am mechanical Saxony. It's innovative, patriotic, agricultural, industrial. Of course, it's going to be the last one. I got mechanical. Here we go. All right, let me take a look at this board and see what's going on here. So I will, again, we're not getting up here. So I'm going to do this. And that's fine. I'll put those over here. So I'm going to get the Saxony pieces. Have my power is going to be put at a 1. I will get 4 combat cards. 3, 4. I have a 3, a 2, a 2, and a 4. Put them there. My special abilities, again, there's no limit to the number of stars I can get from completing objectives and winning combat. Well, maybe I'll have more combat than I normally would versus the automa because of that. We'll see. We'll see how that pans out. So we got this, this, this. When I play against the automa, the way I play, normally the automa actually does reach 6 stars before I do, but then I make I'll make up for that in other ways of scoring. I'm going to put my 4 structures out. We have the mine, we have the armory, I have my 6 stars, which I'll put on my faction sheet. 3. My 8 workers. Got little recruiters here. Our tech upgrades. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will start with 3 popularity. I will have my monument. I'll have the mill. 3 more stars. I have 1 worker in each of the places adjacent to my home base. I'm going to put the other 6 workers here. Alright, so looking at this board, what is connected? So I don't have any wood, which obviously is going to make it hard to build a structure. What do I get? Oil and metal. Now, I know Saxony is definitely considered one of the weaker factions. It's them and Nordic. You have some interesting debates there. The problem with Saxony is that you're not starting with any wood or food, so you can't get your recruitment bonuses, and additionally you can't build structures. You know, you're also not starting on a village, and again, that sweet spot for a Scythe is you want to get 3 or 5 workers because it just makes your production actions that much stronger. My movement is linked to building structures, which again is a problem because I'm not going to be getting a lot of wood. So what I'm probably going to want to do here is if I can get a mech out, produce a worker, get a mech out. If I can get a mech moved into this wood, man, but I have no access to food. This is going to be a challenge. This is not a great combo. You know, there are the tech upgrades will make things cheaper. It might be something I'm going to have to exploit. So, all right, I'm going to have to figure out my strategy as we go here a little bit. Now, look, I'm going to be playing on normal as opposed to hard. Again, it's been a little bit too long since I've played this to feel all that bullish about my chances on hard. We have the character for both of us. We're going to have throwing mechs across the board. We have the mechs for the automa, and then I need to get their workers. Here they are. All right. So all we need from Crimea is their stars. So I'll put them all on the board. And then we will put, we'll take 1 of their squares to put to show the round order of the automa. And then I will need their 8 workers. They start with 5 power, which does present a bit of a challenge for me if I want to try to get some of those combat stars. I believe they start with 5 money, but I'll confirm that for sure. Alright, so 5 money to the automa. I start with 6 money. As per my faction sheet, not my faction sheet, my player board. This will go in here. All right, here are the 8 workers for the automa, and I will just put them right up there on their board. I need 1 more. All right. Cool. Remember, the automa only scores stars for combat, and they can only score 2, and then they score stars for how many times they go on this track. They will also score stars if they get up to 16 power. The automa's popularity starts at 10 and never moves. So again, there's only those 3 ways that they can order get stars. 1 is combat, 2 is getting up to 16, and 3 is whenever the automa card says so. Alright, so the players take the first turn. Wait, I'm sorry, 2 of the automa's workers start there. So, alright, we're gonna have to go with what's on our board, obviously. Yeah, I guess we might just be going for upgrades. And see what happens from there. It's going to be really hard to build. And I think, honestly, when I get a mech across, because my Riverwalk goes into, I can cross from a hex into wood. If I can control that hex with a few workers on there, that will probably be my best bet, because I do want to start unlocking those bonuses for the recruitment bonuses. So, alright, I'm going to, with my first move, we're just gonna do a produce. Because if I can decrease the amount, yeah, if I can get enough oil, do 2 upgrades, make it only cost 1 metal to do a mech, that will really kind of open up the rest of my game here. So we're going to do that. So I'm going to produce, obviously I produce on 2 hexes at the start of the game. I have 1 worker on this tundra, so I will get 1 oil, and I have 1 worker on this mountain, so I will get a metal. That's my turn. The automa's turn, we will flip a card, and we're going to look, and again, you go left to right. So we'll do worker combat. There is no worker in the adjacent space next to the automa, so there's going to be a worker move. And then when you do a worker move, we can look at our little cards here. You select the worker closest to the automa's base. Tiebreaker's reading order. So they're both close to the automa's base, but since you're reading, again, left to right, top to bottom, this is the closest, this is the tiebreaker. And then in neighbor, so this is the one we're moving. And then valid hex is in neighborhood of any automa unit. So the neighborhood is anything adjacent. So this is all the neighborhood of this guy. There's no enemy unit, and there's no enemy worker. Pick up selected worker, which we did. Choose a valid destination hex. The valid hex in the neighborhood of the most automa units. So the workers go in the neighborhood of the most automa units, and it's not in the neighborhood of enemy combat units. So combat units are the plastic pieces as opposed to the wood. So I wanted this to be in the neighborhood of the most automa units. Well, this would be in the neighborhood of 2 different automa units, this worker and this character. So it's actually going to be picked up and placed right back where it started to begin that turn, and that movement is done. So we're going to go to the second line of the automa card. The automa is going to gain some stuff. What does he gain? Well, he's going to gain 1 of his workers, and that's going to go on his base. Alright, so then there we go here. There is a star, and we will do that. Riverwalk's not unlocked yet, so actually this would not have been a valid hex anyway, now that I'm looking at that. Alright, so that is all of the automa's turn. Well, it's my turn. I'm going to go here. I'm going to spend $1, and then I'm going to get 2 oil. I'm going to take the 2 oil that I would have gotten, plus this oil that's here, and I'm going to do 1 tech upgrade. What's that upgrade going to be? I am going to increase my bolster amount so I can maybe take advantage of my ability to get multiple stars, more than 2 stars in combat, and then I'm going to fill in that square right there. All right, we now go to the automa's turn. This is turn 2. So that is only relevant for easy mode, so I don't remember what that does, but yeah, I think that you just skip the turn, but we're not playing with that. The automa is going to move his worker, so we're going to pick up the worker closest to the enemy's base, the automa's base, and we're going to go, since this is on the base, this is obviously closer, and we're going to do the same movement. We're going to put it in the neighborhood of the most hexes where there's not another automa unit, and we're going to put it here. It's in the neighborhood of both of these units. All right, the automa is going to gain stuff. It is Crimea, so he's going to get $1. And then he's going to get a combat card. Yeah, the Crimea starts with 0, so there's a combat card now for Crimea, which we will put next to there. I will not see it, but there is, if I had the enlistment bonus for combat cards opened, I would get a combat card now, but obviously I don't. And there is no movement because that is just a, that X has a square through it, so we do not advance the automa chart right here, so we're good. With the automa's turn, we're now going to move back to my turn. I am going to take my little piece here, and I am going to produce, remove. I actually want to move. I want to see, I do want to get that encounter token and see what's going on. I also want to get another worker on here, and then if I can build a mech, I'll have some possibilities here. So I'm going to move my character here and this worker here, so then next time I produce I can get another worker on the board. We are now going to go to the automa's turn. This is turn 3. Again, it is combat against a character or a mech if the automa's power is at least 6. It is not in any way, he still doesn't have Riverwalk, so he could not attack me anyway. Combat against a worker, he can't do that. So we're going to move another worker. So what are we going to do? We're going to grab the worker that's closest to the automa's base, which would be this one, and we're going to put it down in the place that is in the neighborhood of the most automa units. That is obviously going to be right back where we picked it up. The automa is going to get 2 coins. Again, this is points, so they're going to start adding up. And then the automa, if I had the enlistment bonus open for power, I would get 1 power, and we're not moving the hex. Now, one of the thing on the little chart there. Now, one of the things I forgot to do is take my 2 objective cards from there. My 2 objectives that I can do, and again, I can do both because I am Saxony. Roll up your sleeves with a common man, have 2 or less money, at least 4 workers, and at least 7 popularity. That's probably not happening. Control a territory, 9 or more resource tokens, at least one of each type, on at the end of your turn. I'm probably not doing that either. Those are both really bad. So, alright. This game is getting harder, not easier. Alright, so that was the end of the 3rd turn for the automa. Now, I am going to go and do a produce action. So I still have another bottom line action. So this is, I guess I did. I did the 1 upgrade. Alright, so it could be worse, but not ideal. So I'm going to produce another worker here, and I'm going to produce 1 oil here. We're going to go to the 4th turn for the automa. The automa is going to do a worker move action. Worker moves up, he's going to go right back down, and the automa gains 2 power, and then there is a star, so that moves. We're now going to go to my action. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to pay another $1. I'm going to get 2 oil. I'm going to add it to the 1 oil I already have, and I'm going to do another upgrade. So I'm going to upgrade my movement top line action, and I'm going to make my bottom line action of building a mech cheaper. All right, we're going to go to the automa's turn. Automa is going to move toward an encounter token. So the character, when you go to that movement, so we go to that little cheat card, Encounter. Nope, this is all Tagala stuff. So you select the automa character in the neighborhood of any automa unit, the factory if it doesn't affect a card, but he's not. That's not the neighborhood, and then it's going to go to the nearest hex that it can access. It's going to go to the hex that it can access with an encounter token. So it's going to go there. It's going to swallow up that encounter token, so that is now off the board. He does not pull encounter cards. Now he gains some stuff. What's he going to gain? He's going to gain a worker, and he's going to gain a combat card to give him 2. If I had the enlistment bonus for combat cards open, I would get one. I do not, and then we're going to advance him there. So he will almost have Riverwalk the next time he moves off of that. All right. So we go back to me. I'm going to spend $1, spending more money than is ideal, but kind of where I'm stuck right now. I'm going to gain 3 power because I did do that tech upgrade to get me 3 instead of 2. I'm going to spend this 1 metal to place a mech. Now what do I want? I'm going to place the... So this mech lets me go from any underpass, any mountain that I control to any tunnel. This will give me speed. Kind of want both of them, obviously. I am going to want to go back here to get more metal for sure. But let me get the underpass. Yeah, I think that makes some sense. And I have to put it in a place where I have workers. And because I did that bottom line action, I get the 2 money. The number one thing I think that differentiates like beginner players in the game, or people that played it a lot, is they don't forget to take their stuff when they can get it, right? All that money adds up. Now this board I don't like. I always like a board that has a 3, a 2, and a 1, because then I know really where I want to focus. The 2-2-2 is tough, and notice I've already done 2 tech upgrades, which give me nothing. So I'm sure there's more skilled Scythe players that are looking at this right now, like, what is this kid doing? Yeah, one, it's been a while. 2, Saxony always presents some sort of challenge, and this is a bad combination of boards. So we'll see if I can pull this off anyway against a strong opponent in Crimea. All right, we are now going to go to the, I believe this is the 6th turn, right? So this is the 6th automa action. Automa has a move mech, but they haven't gained a mech yet. We're going to have a move toward the factory or a hex time, but they don't have Riverwalk unlocked yet. So it's going to be move character. So move character, we're going to take the character. It's going to go in the neighborhood of any automa unit. No enemy unit, no enemy mech, valid hex, shortest distance from enemy combat unit. So it's going to put this in a valid hex, the shortest distance from one of my combat units. So that's going to go here. All right, and that is done. We'll do the rest of the card. We're not playing Rusviet, so he doesn't get a worker, but he does get this worker and $1. And this moves, which now means he is Riverwalk unlocked. So our fearless opponent here is going to start being a little bit more aggressive in his movement around the board. All right, what are we going to do? I do want to move before I produce again, so I am going to do here. I get 3 movement. 1, I'm going to move this mech with these 2 workers here. 2, I'm going to move this mech, this worker to join up with this mech. Okay, I told you I got some ideas right now. And then 3, I'm going to move my character here, and I have 3 movement because I unlocked that top line action. And now I'm going to take this encounter token off the board, and I am going to pull the top encounter card, and we shall see a picture of people resting on the what am I talking? Hillside, not a sunside. That would scorch you, I think. With some mechs going through the field. All right. Herd the sheep on the hillside for an afternoon. I gain 2 food and 1 popularity. I can pay 2 to gain a worker and 3 food. And not that excited about that. We're going to pay 3 popularity to deploy 1 mech. Definitely don't want to do that. So I'm going to get 2 food, which can be huge. I have to put it on a hex where my character is, because he's the one who did the encounter. And I will also gain 1 popularity, getting me up to 4. So not the greatest encounter card I've ever seen, but it will do the trick for now. All right, we now go to there is no bottom. I do not have 3 wood, obviously, so bottom line action is not successful there, but we will now move to the automa. So we're not against Polania, so that doesn't matter. We move a mech. The automa has not gained a mech yet. We move a worker. So we will take the worker closest to the base, so it's actually on their base, and we will put it in the neighborhood of the most automa units. That neighborhood will be here, because that is now in the neighborhood of 3 different automa units, both those workers and this character, and that is done. Now, the automa is going to gain a worker, and he's going to gain either his character or a mech. Now, the character thing, what that means is, if we had a battle and successfully beaten this guy, then we would have been able to just put him back on the base. But since the character is already on the board, we will add a mech. It doesn't matter. They don't have mech abilities. The automa doesn't. So we will put 1 mech there. Now, if I had the enlist bonus for the popularity, I'd gain a popularity. I don't. And then we will advance this chart based on that star there. All right. Things are starting to heat up for show. All right, I am going to do a produce action. Yeah, I think that's right. I'm going to do a produce action, and I'm just going to take 3 metal. You know what? I'm not going to do that yet. Where was I? I was here. I think I have a better idea. I'm going to spend $1 to get 2 food, because then I can have a much stronger turn the next 2 turns than just by doing that 1 produce. I'll put that 2 food there. Now I am going to do the automa's action. We're not playing Nordic, so we're going to ignore that. Now we have the encounter or factory. The factory is not in the base of the automa, so we're not going to worry about that. Now what's going to happen though, we're going to move him to a hex with an encounter token in his neighborhood. Again, Riverwalk is unlocked, so he will go here. He will take this encounter token, and that is that. Since we did a movement, we can ignore the rest. He will get a power. We will try to knock that down before he gets up to 16 for sure, and he will get another worker. Enlistment bonus or power I do not have unlocked, and then there's a star, so that moves, and that is done. Now I'm going to do the produce action to get 3 metal. So notice I'm definitely in a place where I'm risking combat, because I am in the neighborhood of the character. So we'll see how that plays out. And now I'm going to do an enlist bonus where I'm going to take those 4 food, and I'm going to get 2 money for doing an enlistment. And I'm going to enlist. I'm going to open up. I know I'm going to be doing this a lot, but I really want to start just getting some of that passive popularity. I can always get those 2. Let me start getting some more money, just really chase points. I think that's going to be the most effective. And I'm going to put this here for 2 more power in case we have a fight. So that is that. Top and bottom on action are done. We're going to go back to the automa deck. We're not playing Albion, so we can ignore that. We're going to do a worker move. Closest worker is here. And we're going to put this, again, the valid hex is in the neighborhood of the most automa workers. And it can't be another worker, but there can be a character. So we could put this here that is in the neighborhood of 3 other automa units. So that is correct. We're now going to get here. He's going to get his last worker, so a lot of workers. He's going to get $1. I do have the enlistment bonus unlocked of that $1, so I will get $1, which is nice. And then we will make this move on the star track. All right, my turn. Interesting. I'm going to go here. I'm going to spend $1. I'm going to increase my power by 3. I am going to get a mech, and I will get speed because, no, you know what? No, I'll get speed, that's fine, because then it'll give me the ability to move my my guy. Well, I have to spend this. I spent $1, I got 3 power, and I'm going to get a mech. So I'm going to do the bottom one action now. Sorry, I jumped ahead of myself a little bit there. So I spent the 1 metal. Again, it's only 1 metal because I did the 2 tech upgrades. I get the 3 money, the 2 money there, plus the 1 because I did that action. And then I will place the mech here. I have to place it where there are workers, so I really don't have much of a choice there. But now I have speed. And again, that applies for my character and for my mechs as per those circles there. So we are going to go, so I did overtake him in power, so that makes me feel a little bit better in case we do have to rumble here. We're going to take the automa card. We're not playing against Polania, so we can ignore that. We're going to do a worker move. The worker's going to go from his base, and he has to go to a place where there's no other workers, but in the area of the most other automa units. The tiebreaker, so this is in the area of 3 other automa units. This is the neighborhood of 3 other automa units. Tiebreaker 1 is closest to factory. Oh, and it also can't be in the neighborhood of enemy combat units. Now that's not in the neighborhood because I actually can't get into that hex anyway. So this isn't my neighborhood because I can't go onto a lake, and this wasn't my neighborhood because I can't cross a river into villages. But either way, the tiebreaker number 1, so this would both be a valid hex, but since this is closest to factory, we will go there. Alright, now we're playing Crimea, so he gets both of those bonuses. He's going to get $1 because he's Crimea, and then another $1 because that's on the card anyway, and there's a star. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There should be 8 stars in here. Make sure I've been doing this right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. Now what? Now we are going to move. I am going to take this move action. I'm going to move. I can move from. Right, so I have Underpass. I'm going to move from a mountain I control to any tunnel. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and then I can move from here to any tunnel. I think I want to start getting wood. Because I'm going to be doing a lot of movement and getting some of these bonuses and some of my structures out might be a good idea. Alright, so I'm going to go to any tunnel. I'm actually going to make these guys go here. The problem is if I do that produce action, that's not going to make much sense for me. It's really not going to make much sense for me. Alright, so I still have the 2 metal. This will make more sense to me than the other thing. I wanted to get more of those listments out, but I just don't think it's going to happen. That 4 food is going to be really tough. Alright, so I'm gonna give my my character some support here, and then we're going to take all of this and these 3 workers. Clearly, I'm not as spread out as I would hope, but this will work. Is that the tunnel I want to be on? No, I don't think I want to fight yet. So let me actually move. I can go to any tunnel. I'll go, this will go 1, 2, and then this guy will go that way I can get to the factory card if I want. I don't really care about factory cards that much though. That is one of the things I think that's like a trap in Scythe, like, you know, this idea that factory, oh, get a factory card. Honestly, I just find factory cards are really not all that helpful a lot of times. So, I'm gonna go here for a couple reasons. So we're just gonna do that. So move, move, move. Do not have the wood yet for a bottom line action, so that is fine. We're gonna do the automa card. Automa is going to do a factory move that is in the neighborhood of this worker. So he will go there, he will get a factory card, does not matter. And then he will gain either a character or a mech. He will gain his 2nd mech and a star. We go to number 2. What happens to number 2? Alright, so first he gets a star, his first star on the chart, and we can put it anywhere, it doesn't matter. And then because of that 2, what's going to happen is these cards are going to come into, I think everything gets shuffled together. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we're going to take this, we're going to shuffle the whole thing together, and we're going to turn it over. So the side 2 of these cards actually creates a little bit more combat than side 1. Alright, so we will do that. So starting next turn, we will be drawing the side 2 cards. And now we have our fearless opponent chilling in the factory. So we definitely don't want him there at the end of the game because, again, that triple bonus does count. We are now going to go to my turn. We're going to spend $1. We're going to boost to 3. We're going to spend 1 of these metals. We're going to get a $3 bonus because the 2 plus the 1, and I will have to place this guy. I'm going to give myself, for a comment on a tunnel, your opponent gets -2. Huh, I like it. So we're going to do that. I have to put it where my workers are, so that is there. Now we are going to go to the automa deck. Automa does a that is a mech move. Pretty sure I haven't been missing those earlier. They all look like characters to me. That's a mech move. Yeah, that's different enough. I would have noticed. All right, so the mech move is as follows. The mech moves. I'm going to select an automa mech closest to the automa's base. So that's here. It's going to be placed in the neighborhood of any automa unit. There can't be an enemy unit there, and the shortest distance from the enemy unit. So it is going to, the valid hex is going to be the shortest distance from the enemy combat unit, and the tiebreaker is closest to factory and then reading order. So this is closest to factory and it's 1 away from an enemy combat unit. So that would be the place where that would go. And again, reading order A, B, C, D. So again, left to right, top to bottom. So that, oh, that's the shortest distance from an enemy combat unit. And again, left to right, top to bottom. So it would actually have to go up there. All right. We are done with that. He gets 4 power. 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't make me happy. He also gets a worker, but he has no more. If I had the combat enlistment bonus, I would get that now, and then he will get a move up on the chart there. Yowza. So, what do I want to do? I'm gonna produce so then I can actually make a structure. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm going to produce, I can make a structure, and then my next 2 turns will kind of play themselves, and we'll see what happens with combat here. But I feel if I have to combat in this area, I feel pretty confident. I have 2 units there. I'm going to use 2 combat cards, and we'll just see what happens. All right. So I produced. I can't do a bottom line action, and now we go to the automa's turn. The automa is doing a worker move. He's going to take this worker. It is going to go into the neighborhood of the most automa units. So if I put it here, that's in the neighborhood of 3 others. That's 3. It's only 2. So this is 3. This is 3. It can't go where another worker is, and units on the base don't count. So it's either here or here. And tiebreaker is closest to factory, so this is actually on the factory. So that would be that. Alright, now what? We are playing Crimea, so he gets 3 money, because it's the 2 plus the 1. The bonus because it's Crimea, and if I had the power thing open, I would get a power, and there is no star movement this turn. Alright, so that is that. You know, we're lucky. There's not that many of the no stars in the deck, so giving me more time, especially as I've been trying to figure out how I really want to develop with this character, has been nice. So what are we going to do? We're going to go to the movement. I'm going to move my character. Well, I'll do that last. I want to move yeah, I'm going to move to character here. I'm going to move this guy here. And I think that's it. All right. I'm still not going to use all my movement, but that's fine. I still, you know, if I'm going to make a play for these structure bonuses and whatnot, I'm going to want to kind of keep that moving. So actually, I'm going to be. Let me take this back. I'm going to be building something this turn. So what I am going to do is I'm going to move this guy here, and then I'm going to move this guy here and get another worker. I can actually, I'm going to move this worker somewhere else where he can produce something that might be useful. I'm going to go 1, 1, 2. So those 3 movements were, this was 1, this was 2, and then with another mech that was there, I grabbed the worker and I went 1, and I dropped the worker off as I went. I'm just trying to start fanning around the board, because we're just at that time now where I see the end game coming, and I want to be as many hexes as possible. So let's resolve this encounter token. We're going to flip this thing over. Number 15. We have a picture of a beach, some kind of crazy little ship in the background, caravan. All right, so we're gonna take a ride on the ferry as the wind tussles your long flowing hair, gain 2 popularity. We can trade with the caravan for a variety of goods. We can pay $2 to gain any 3 resources. That's interesting. Or we can pay 3 popularity to gain any 5 resources. Well, I definitely don't want to gain, I don't want to lose 3 popularity. I need to get here by the end of this game, right? But I am going to spend 2 to get 3 resources because that will really help me string together a few good turns. I'm going to spend this 2 to get 3 food. And again, it has to go where my character is because that's the one who did the encounter. Now, bottom line action, I'm going to spend these 3 wood. And I'm going to be able to build a structure. I'm going to build the windmill here. And then I'm going to get 2 money because I did that bottom line action. Alright, so this is now the automa's turn. We are going to do, alright, no, we're not playing against Saxony, so that's not going to be a fight. We are going to do an encounter action with the character here, and of course he's going to go here to get this encounter token. So again, the part of the board we for sure weren't going to get to. We are now dealing with, just want to make sure that is a valid hex. Yes, that is the only hex that has a counter token. So he moves there and we're good. The rest of the card, he will get a combat card, 2 money. I'm going to take a 1 and give him a 3. I do have the enlist bonus for money, so I get $1. And then there's a star. So that moves up, and that is right. Alright, my turn. I'm going to I'm hoping to get to 16 before we get a battle here, but I also don't want him to get to 16. There's not that many cards. I give him 4 power though, so we shall see. I'm going to trying to figure out the order here. How I want to do this. I'm going to produce again. So I have the mill, which counts as an extra worker, so I'm going to get 3 wood again. And then I'm going to get 1 food because of this guy over here. In all the hexes I control, I do have 4 food, so I'm going to spend that. I'm going to get 2 money for recruiting. And then I'm going to do a recruitment bonus of this. And I'm going to put this here to get 2 more combat cards. Because it's about to get real, I think. I get a 3 and a 2. I am not getting good combat cards. Alright. Not a lot going right, but we're actually in an okay place amazingly. So that is that. We go to the automa card. The automa is going to do a fight action because they have at least 5 power. Alright, so fight against a combat unit. The automa power is greater than or equal to 5, so we're good. He's going to select the combat unit closest to automa's base. That's fine, and he's going to go in the neighborhood of any automa unit, and that's only going to be here. Alright, so what happens in combat? Well, I am going to decide how much of my power I want to spend. Now I know they have 12. The most they're going to be able to do is, so the way combat works, I'm going to flip over a card, and the card's going to tell me how many cards they're going to spend, and they have 1, 2, or 3, or 0. Now since they have 12 or more power, they're going to spend, somewhere between 1 and 7 power plus their cards. And we shall see how this is going to work out. So what I want to do is actually spend, I want to make sure I win this. I'm pulling 2 cards, but all I have is a 4, a 3, a 2, a 2. And they have 3 cards, and I can assume they're probably better than mine because just statistics. So let me spend, the most power I can spend here is 14. That seems a little bit like overkill, so I'm going to spend a 3 and a 2. And I'll spend 7. So I'm doing 12 power, which is pretty strong. Tig does go to the attacker. Alright, I'll spend 13 power. That way if they get 7 and they get 1 card and it's a 5, then I can win. And then if they get anything better than that, it is what it is. Alright, so now I'm spending 13 power. So I'm going to knock this down to 5. And we'll see what they're going to do. The automa is going to do, they have 12 power, they're only spending 1. Rough. They don't even use any of their cards. Rough. I win, so he goes off the board. I get a combat. I get a star for winning a combat. And there's 1 resource picture there, so I'm going to get 1 resource of that type. And I get a wood. Rough. That goes there. The rest of the card is ignored. It was just used as a sideway card for the purpose of the combat. So since he lost, he does get the bonus of another card. And I just need to hope we don't fight again anytime soon. Alright, but to that end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here. Oh wait, the rest of their card needs to be resolved. So that was a combat. We did that. He's now going to gain a mech and $1. And there was a star on there, so that's going to come here. Alright. Rough. I'm going to go here. I'm going to spend $1, get my power back above 7. And I'm going to use my last medal to deploy my last mech, which gives me 3 points, gives me a star. I'm going to put this mech, now I have Riverwalk. I'm going to put this mech here to make this super fortified and give me the ability to draw even 1 more card, but also gives me the ability to kind of move my pieces around a little bit more. Or my workers around a little bit more. Not great. Alright. We are going to do the automa's card now. It's just a worker move, which is great. He's going to move in the neighborhood of the most enemy units. This would be 3. This would be 3. It is not accessible to me, so it is valid. But then we have to figure out closest to factory and reading order, so that would go there. And that is right. He gets 4 power. He doesn't get a star for that yet. I would get a power if I had that enlistment bonus, and then he gets a star because of that. Alright, crunch time. I'm going to do a move action. I'm going to move one of these workers off there, and I'm going to go to another tunnel. I'm going to move this guy. So I'm going to go 1. I can move to any mountain I control. I control this mountain, so I'm going to go 1, 2. 1, 2. And let me make my play for the center now. I'm going to do this actually. I'm going to do a 1, 2. That way I'm just controlling maximum hexes. And then I'm going to use these other 2 mechs. I'm going to go 1, 2. I send this worker back. I get a loss of popularity. But I think I'll be able to make up for that. And then I'm going to move this guy in here too and try to stake my claim to the center. No, I'm not going to do that. I got my popularity back. Do 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll get that encounter token. And I'll leave these pretty close to the center. My last action is even better. I control this. I'm going to go move this guy off of this base to get him more center into the action. So 1, 2, and then I'm going to go 1, 2. So I get this encounter token. It's my third one of the game. We have some cows on a field, some mechs looking like they're going to shoot it. Poor cow. I don't know. It's just like a anti-Chick-fil-A commercial. No, it's I don't know. So I can distract the rogue mech with your yodeling skills to save the cow. Oh, it really is going to shoot the cow. That's hilarious. I gain 2 popularity. I can pay 4 to deploy 1 mech, so seize control of the mech and scuttle it into the forest. Or I can steer the cow under the mech to see what happens. I can pay 2 popularity to gain 2 combat cards and 3 power. I'm going to gain 2 popularity, which I feel really good about. So that's going to happen. Now I'm going to spend these 3 wood. To build a structure that's going to give me 2 money and another popularity, which gets me into the second stage here, and I will put on the board the monument. I think, yeah, tunnel's not going to help me much. And I'll put that here. It puts me next to a second lake. Again, you have to build these where you have workers. So I have a worker there, gets me next to that lake, which is helpful. I don't see any real upside in doing anything else. All right. So got all the bonuses, including that bonus, and now we go back to the automa deck. The automa is going to do a worker move, so closest to enemy base in reading order, so it's going to be this guy, and we're going to put him in the area of the most automa units. And actually it's going to be right back there because there's 4. Here is 1, there's only 3, and it's in the neighborhood of one of my units, one of my combat units. So yeah, he's actually going to be picked up and go right back. He gets 2 power. He maxes out. He does get a star for maxing out his power. He gets a worker. I do have the enlistment bonus of a heart, so I get that. Might be able to make a play for that, which would be really nice. And then the star, he gets another star because of the chart. Doesn't matter where I put it. All right, my turn. I am going to yikes. Well, to that end, let me do this. I'm going to spend $1. I'm going to get 3 power. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to get a heart because of the monument. Let me see if I can chase that. That'll be really strong. I do not even have a medal. Again, even if you're not doing, if I had a medal, I would spend it just to get the 3. I think that would be a strong play. But, you know, as it is, we're just going to not get that bonus this turn. But I do think chasing hearts getting some more power in light of the fact that it could be combat. Combat makes the most sense. The other argument, there would be an argument for producing, because then I can come back, do some movement, and then get, you know, what I need to do in these two panels. But I do like trying to maximize hearts and gives me the most chance to get up to that 13 as soon as possible. All right, so we're gonna pull this. We're gonna do a mech movement. This mech unit is at the base. So he is closest to the automa's base. He's gonna be put into the neighborhood of any automa unit. There's gonna be no enemy unit at all. It's gotta be closest to the factory. So it does cut off my goal to get there, which is a little bit unfortunate, but I'll have other paths, or even I might actually initiate a combat here in a second. So shortest distance from the enemy combat unit, ignore units on bases, and blah blah blah, and then it will go here, because that's closest to factory. It's one away from a combat unit, one away from the factory, and reading order tiebreaker, and there's no other unit. So that is done. Dude's gonna get 2 money, or lady, don't want to be sexist here, and then get a mech, and then star. Alright, so I'm running out of turns. I am going to go here. Yeah, I'm going to get 2 wood. So 1 for the worker here and 1 for the mill. And then I have 2 other workers and other hexes. So again, the mill is not only a mill is like an extra worker for production of the amount of you get, but it does actually give you the ability to produce on a 3rd hex in addition to the 2 that you start with. So I will get food, and remember, the next time I produce, I'll be able to do an enlistment, which could be huge because I still have the enlistment of 2 popularity available to me. And one of my mini goals right now is to get up to that 13 just for the massive bump in scoring. All right, we're going to take the automa card. We're not playing Nordic. We are going to get, so we don't have to worry about that, but we are doing a move to a either the factory or the nearest place with a hex, but there are no places nearest hex with an encounter token. There are no valid destinations, so that move is ignored. And then we're going to just do a standard character move, and a standard character move is basically it's a non-attacking character move. Is going to go in the neighborhood of any automa unit, no enemy mech, no automa mech. So there can be an automa worker. It's going to be shortest distance from an enemy combat unit. Closest to factory is the number 1 tiebreaker, so it would move here because that's the closest distance away from one of my enemy units, and it's the closest to the factory, so he would move. There. All right. We are good. The rest of that 3 power, he's already maxed out. We get a worker, he's already maxed out. Combat card and enlistment bonus if I had that unlocked, and then he gets a movement there. So I really like 4 turns left to work some magic. So what am I going to do? I really want to move toward that factory. I could probably come at it another way, which I think will make some sense. So yeah, let me do that. I'm going to do a movement. I'm not sure I want to do a battle because I have a feeling a battle is going to find me whether or not I initiate it or not, right? So what I want to do is movement. So I'm going to go 1. Now I can move from wherever I am. Oh wait, hold on. Riverwalk gets me there. So I can Riverwalk into here. And I have a second movement. I'm going to move here. That's 1. Do not want any battles here, so I'm going to take this worker away to leave him here, and go 3. Okay, I'm just trying to spread these guys out. There was a battle there before, so he would have lost actually 2 power. It actually didn't change anything. But again, you got a part of the battle advantages from your mechs. Remembering them isn't always the easiest thing. And then I'm going to go 1, 2. Gets me super close to the factory, and also kind of gives me some other options too as far as getting there. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. So this is my 3 movement. I'm now going to spend these 3 wood. I'm going to get 2 money for doing a building. I get a popularity. And then what am I going to build? I'm going to build the tunnel, and I will place it already built next to those lakes. And there's no other lakes I can get near, it's fine. I'm just gonna do it here so I can get this worker away from that part of the board and maybe into a place where he can be more useful for endgame scoring. All right, so that is done. We're now going to do the Automa deck. Automa is not attacking. We're not playing Tagawa. We're going to do a mech movement. What's mech movement? I feel like this is going to be bad. All right, so he's going to go in there with any Automa unit. We're going to put him closest to one of my combat units, closest to factory. And again, we're here, so looking at the area control that the Automa can pull off is pretty impressive. So we're not playing Polonius. We can ignore, I'm sorry, not playing Saxony. I'm Saxony, so we can ignore that. He does get $1, and he gets a mech. I do have the enlistment bonus of the money, so I get $1. And there's a star, so he gets his 4th star. Put a little bit of pressure on me. Start thinking about how I might be able to get 1 more star here. The only star I have possible. All right, I think I might. That's so there is an encounter token here, and that is a tundra. I might actually be chasing that. Think my plan right now. So if I do the enlistment, it gives me 1 wood. I can leave it there on that windmill. And then what I can do is do this, get 2 more wood, and then I can potentially move and build my last structure on my last turn, judging from where we're at, while ending on the factory, which I think would be a pretty strong couple of moves and put me in a place where not I would have the 3 extra popularity. I'm losing a popularity if I shoot him back. All right. Well, hopefully I get an enlistment popularity bonus here. We've got some options. All right, let me do production. I'm going to produce a wood here, a food here, a food here, and a wood here. I'm going to spend these for food. And put them in the supply, and I get 2 money for enlisting. I'm going to unlock this bonus. I'm going to put it, it doesn't matter what I bonus. I'm going to put it here and take the 2 popularity. All right, so that's my turn. Top and bottom line action. We go here. We're not playing Polania. We're going to move a worker. We're going to pick this worker up and move it in the hex with the most, in the neighborhood of the most automa units, and that would be, it's no longer here. It's actually here. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other units. If I put it here, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so it could be here or here. So let's look at the tiebreaker. What's the automa units? Not in the neighborhood of enemy combat. So this would be in the neighborhood of enemy combat units. So that actually isn't a valid hex. So it'd have to go there, which is fine. What's the rest of this card? We are playing Crimea, so he gets $1. He gets a combat card, and he gets a mech, although he already has a mech. He already has those mechs. I get the bonus of $1. Really kind of want the bonus of a heart, and he gets a star. So I definitely have max 2 turns left. I think I'm gonna be 1 away from that. Might be able to get lucky if I get that encounter card. If I can get 2 resources or just any popularity, that's probably my best bet. Alright, so either I'm going to get an encounter token here, which is funny because, of course, I'm using a part of the board I didn't expect to. And I'm just hoping for either 2 wood or 1 popularity. Yeah, 2 wood. Yeah, I want 2 wood or a couple of popularity because either way that's gonna be pretty big for me. Well, the problem with that. No, I think I'm gonna have 2 turns left, so I'm gonna give myself maximum chances here to do this the way I want to do it. So I'm gonna actually go here, spend $1, and just take 2 wood, and then I know I have 1 more turn, assuming I don't lose a combat, that I can try to kind of pull this off. And I'm gonna put these 2 resources. I have to put it where a worker is. I will put it here. It's the safest, the most out of the way. And then my next turn should be pretty big, and I think will give me enough to win this game. So let's see. Automa card. It's a combat move against a worker. I forget how this works. All right, combat move against a worker closest to Automa's base. So I'm going to take the combat unit, and I'm going to put it in the neighborhood of any automa unit contains enemy worker. So this is in the neighborhood of an automa unit, and it contains a worker. This is here, and it can't be any of my combat units. So that's going to make that not valid. So this is the only valid hex. And then most resources there are. So tiebreaker 1 is closest to the factory, tiebreaker 2 is most resources. So it's actually just going to go here, and that's unfortunate because then I lose that hex. So I'm not totally thrilled about that. And then this worker will just come back on my home base. Well, that jerk, he gets 3 power. He's already maxed out. He gets $1. I would get a combat card had I unlocked that, but I didn't. And then we get a go there. He gets his penultimate star. Now my turn hopefully will be pretty huge. All right, so I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna move here to get this and just hope for any popularity whatsoever. Yeah, so hope for any popularity whatsoever. So I get this, so that's 1, 2, 3. I have a worker here where I can build. All right. So I send this guy back, which means he goes off the board, which means I lose a popularity. I'm going to do this encounter token. We're going to get this card. We have Snow. It looks like a Rusviet mech is hurt. Stand next to a bear. Some photographer with a dog. Take photos for the overly enthusiastic soldiers. I gain 2 metal and 1 popularity. I can spend 3 to enlist a recruit. I can pay 2 popularity to gain 4 metal. Well, that's interesting. Well, look, so it's tempting to pay the 3 and enlist that recruit because then it gives me another star, but the problem is getting back up to 13 is huge, and I just lost that popularity. So I'm going to gain 2 metal, so I get a little bit lucky here. 2 metal, which will be points. I have to put it where my guy is, and I will gain 1 popularity. Right, and now that takes care of that encounter card. I also get to pull one of these out. Fine, now I'll have a new panel there. Which won't do much for me, which is fine. And then my last thing is I'm going to spend my 3 wood to build my last structure, which I have to build here. It's my only place with a worker, and I will get 2 money for that. So I'm going to take 1 and give it 3, and I gain a popularity, putting me in the 3rd tier, which is good, and that's all for my structures. So I have my 3rd star. And now we go to the automa. We're gonna do an attack. So this is gonna end. Of course, it's that bonus too. So I need to win this. Obviously, there's no reason for me to hold back. So I'm gonna be attacking. I'm gonna be doing 13. So the attack mover's combat unit. So we're gonna take the combat unit closest to the automa's base, which is this one, which is nice because now I get this hex back in end-game scoring. And we're gonna attack in the neighbor of any automa valid hex, fewest combat units. So, all right. So pick up the selected combat unit, choose the destination hex. And fewest combat units. So fewest combat units, he's gonna go here then, because he will not attack the factory, which is wild. That is a valid hex, but there's 2 there, so he's gonna want to attack this guy here. I do want this star really badly, so I'm gonna do 7, and I'm gonna do a 3. So I am defending with a 10. And unfortunately, there's no resource. I won't get any resources there because it's a village. So this comes out. He's attacking with a 7 and a 3. So we're gonna. He doesn't pull any. Oh, he doesn't pull any cards. So I actually win because I defended with a 10. So that gives me down to a 4, and this goes him down to a 9. He doesn't pull any combat cards. So I win that combat. He goes home. I get a star. And 2 resources. There are no resources there. So we'll put this, that's resolved. Then he gets 3 power. I get a popularity, and there's a star, which gives him his last star. All right, he gets a consolation card for losing. So let's score this baby up. So again, Scythe has a great scoring system. So Crimea has 10 popularity. It's the automa. It has 6 stars. It controls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hexes. It has 0 resources, and it has 3. Put these in sets of 5. 23 money. And it has no structures next to hexes. So 74. 74 is a good score. I think we pulled this off. So I have 14 popularity. I have 4 stars. That last battle was really nice. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 hexes. I have just the 2 resources that I got from that last card. And I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 24 money, and I have structures built next to 2 unique lakes for 91. So yeah, we won 91 to 74. Wasn't able to accomplish any of my objectives. Didn't take advantage of Saxony's powers at all. Definitely was glad I was playing on normal and not hard. But that's a pretty standard game for me, especially on the normal mode. I normally do not get the number of I don't get 6 stars. I just kind of make up for it anywhere else. Was able to spread out decently nicely at the end. Controlling the factory is always nice. I forgot that if you have more than 1 unit there, that it does really prevent. If you get 2 combat units there and have other combat units in the neighborhood, I forgot they're always going to attack your hexes that have less than 2 combat units, right? So it's one strategy if you really want to control the center, just have another decoy combat unit hanging around. Was able to make use of the Underpass ability fairly well, which was nice. Oh yeah, I did forget to reduce his power by 2 before the fight again, because that fight was also on a tunnel. Got definitely lucky with how the cards, I think there were 3 times we didn't even move the star forward. You can imagine, probably would have lost had we had to score this 2 rounds ago. Definitely 3 rounds ago. So, that was helpful to give us more of a chance to overcome some of the challenges we were facing. But yeah, there's only 3 cards that have that no star, and we pulled 2 of them before we turned the deck over and shuffled. So, that was definitely a nice development there. I do like these cheat sheets. They're really well written. Again, it's just a really well designed automa. One of the things I have noticed about myself as I have continued to solo play, I think one of the reasons that this game gets less action from me as a solo game is that points-based victory is a little bit more anti. I mean, you can say this about multiplayer games in general, but most multiplayer games are scoring, right? But for me, if I have a choice between a solo game where it's like a goal driven task at hand, like getting rid of all the invaders in Spirit Island, winning the scenario in Arkham, conquering that last castle in Maid's Night, right? It's nice to be like, oh, 1 done, as opposed to, hey, I think I won, let me count the score, and that takes how long? But having said that, I mean, again, the Scythe app really, really, really helps with the scoring and makes that process a lot smoother and a lot quicker. And, definitely helps, lessen some of that negative comment there. But, yeah, happy to go back to my roots a little bit. Any questions, comments, epiphanies, as always, please put them in the comments. I would love to engage more about this game, find out why people, I know why I like it, but it's one of those games that really, I forget how much I like it till I play it again and appreciate the richness that is there, even if I'm not the biggest fan of some of the expansion elements. But that's it. Thanks for joining me as always, and until next time, happy gaming.